We want to go now to Jim Armstrong. He is in Somerville. Jim, are you with us?
Hey, bud.
Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, guys, I'm actually in Brighton. On Brighton Avenue, actually, not far from you guys. In some ways, this is a very wide-ranging search, but in other ways, we're talking about a very small area of interest. Where we're standing now here on Brighton Avenue is maybe half a mile or so away. You can't see it from here, but just over Brighton Ave is the area of Watertown that is cordoned off, where you're hearing from some of my colleagues. What brings us here to Brighton Ave, however, is this particular facility behind me here. This is the mixed martial arts facility where we believe at least one of the brothers involved in the bombing has trained. Tamerlan Tsarnaev is the one, the older one, suspect number one, the one who was killed last night, trained here extensively, we're told. We're hearing a lot through the course of the day about how fit these brothers were, how athletic they were. Let me check with you guys. A short time ago, I talked with the former trainer of Tamerlan Tsarnaev. He doesn't work here anymore. He said he hasn't worked here in about a year or so, but he used to work intimately with Tamerlan Tsarnaev as his trainer, training him in mixed martial arts. He described him as a nice guy. He said the descriptions he's hearing about Tamerlan right now are simply, as he says, not the person I used to know. We have some sound from him, which may or may not be available now. Let's go to him right now.
Tamerlan?
Yeah,
that's but what did you know? This isn't. I mean, we're just looking for a little bit of. I gotta go, guys.
But you knew him pretty well, right? I think you talked to Joe at our station. We're just looking to get a sense of who this guy is. I mean, you trained him.
I work with him at the gym.
For how long?
For a while. I gotta go.
Well, what kind of guy was he? What did you think when you heard?
Shocked, just like everybody else.
Just tell me about what kind of guy he was.
Not the guy that we're talking about now.
How well did you know him, would you say?
I knew him. No, thank you.
But what were your interactions with like him? I mean, we're just curious and learned so much about him.
Go, thank you.
That was Mark Massey, a former mixed martial arts trainer here in Alston at the Brighton Avenue facility in Alston, where the older brother was, in fact, often found training Tamerlan Tsarnaev. The sign on the door today, as you can see, we arrived about an hour ago to see both doors with those newly printed signs reading simply, "We will be closed today for 1913. There was a great deal of police activity here earlier, a couple of hours ago or so, as crews were exiting here. Federal investigators, there goes another police officer now, federal investigators were leaving the scene here. We tried to get a sense from them about what they were looking for, or in fact what they found here. But again, as you just heard from the man who knew Tamerlan Tsarnaev intimately as a trainer here at this mixed martial arts facility, he completely dumbfounded by the description of a man he's hearing about on the news today. We showed him some pictures of him. He confirmed that this is the same guy we're talking about. He said he's simply not the guy he used to know. David, Kate?
All right, some new and interesting pictures there and sound from Jim Armstrong there, really building the background of these two brothers. Thank you, Jim.
It's interesting to hear, to a man, we haven't heard one story of anyone who said, I knew them and they troubled me. Every single person we've heard from says, I knew them, they seemed normal. And of course, we should point out we're still talking about suspects. We don't know that they, in fact, did this, but of course, there has been a lot going on over the past 24 hours that would be evidence in police favor that they are involved in some way. But again, still being called suspects at this point. I want to bring in Paula Eben right now. You've been talking, I know, to a terrorism expert as we sort of try to uncover and try to go through how in the world we got to this point with these two suspects.
Well, because this is the interesting part of the puzzle here, David and Kate, as you've been saying, everyone we know saying they were great kids, they seemed normal. And at this point, the search for a motive is going to become extremely important to people. And the background of the Tsarnaev brothers is becoming more clear as we understand where they came from and what their family has been through. We have some video we're going to show you here now. This is a YouTube account which which is attributed to Tamerlan Tsarnaev. Now, it shows posted videos about terrorism. And so I spoke earlier with MIT political science professor Stephen Van Ivra. He's an expert in terrorism. Now, he points out that if this family did in fact come from Chechnya, as their family has confirmed, that what people here need to understand is that the brutality of the Russian government on Chechnyans during that civil war allowed al-Qaeda to infiltrate and radicalize a certain segment of the population there. And take a listen. This is what Professor Stephen Van Ivra told me was his immediate reaction when the explosions happened on Monday.
When I first heard of the Boston Marathon bombing, this is what I thought it was. I expected to find that it was radicalized, al-Qaeda-connected, domestic American terrorists. And that's what we've got. And the reason that we still face this problem is because the al-Qaeda narrative is still alive in the world, especially the Muslim world.
Yeah. So the professor says that he notes the reports have been that while the younger brother had become integrated into the community, the older brother, it has been mentioned, didn't have many friends, didn't feel that connected, which is an indication, the professor says, of how a radicalized terrorist could be motivated to do something like this if they feel disconnected, even with the community that they've been living in for a long time. And it is chilling that